What's happening, folks? Welcome back to Celtic Fans TV. It's time to look ahead to the big Champions League clash on Wednesday in Italy against Atalanta. I'm delighted to be joined by Nigel from Atalanta BC News to look ahead to the game. Nigel, thank you for joining us. First of all, how are Atalanta coming into this game and how are you looking forward to it?
Well, yeah, first of all, really looking forward to the game. I'm from the UK, as you can tell, so really looking forward to the prospect of actually Celtic coming over to Bergamo. That's really exciting. In terms of the form, you've probably caught us at the worst possible time. We're in really good shape at the moment. Absolutely demolished Shakhtar in the Champions League, put 5 past Genoa. Then we've had the international break, and then we've just come back and played okay against Venezia at the weekend. Nice, comfortable 2-0 win. But we're really just starting, for me personally, I feel we're just starting to show that kind of form where we're going to go on a little bit of a crazy run, particularly in the league. So, yeah, like I say, you caught us at a bad time, Paul, I'm afraid.
Aye, well, that fills me with even more confidence than I already had off the back of our trip to Dortmund. Am I right in saying it was maybe a slow start to the season? But as you've touched on there, you've really turned it around now.
Yeah, but I mean, it depends on your perspective, really, because you had a big cycle of change over the summer, a lot of players going, a lot of incomings. So that obviously takes a bit of time. But actually, we started okay. Demolished Lecce opening day of the season, a couple of goals for Retegui, a couple of goals for Brescianini. So both the new signings up and running. And then, yeah, it's kind of tailed off a little bit off the back of that. We lost against Inter, we suffered defeat against Torino. But as I kind of spoke about earlier, recent forms look really good. The new signings are properly settled, and we've dominated the last 2 or 3 games and really look to be playing some of our best football. So, all in, I think we're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I think a lot of Celtic supporters will be familiar with the team. Obviously, been in the Champions League in recent years, won the Europa League last season as well. And under Gasperini, how did the team play, and how do you expect them to set up in this game, even formation-wise?
Well, in terms of formation, I don't think you're going to get anything too drastic. Gianpiero Gasperini is very predictable in terms of the way he's going to set the team up, so you can fully expect the traditional 3 at the back. You're going to see the 2 in midfield, which are likely going to be Darun and Ederson, and you're going to have the wing-backs either side. Front 3 can be occasionally a little bit different. Sometimes you've got a number 10 with 2 advanced players. Sometimes you've got Mola out wide left, Charles de Ketelaere wide right, and then someone straight through the middle. So a little bit of variation on the front 3, but that all kind of just depends on who Mr. Gasperini wants to pick. People want to see Samardzic play. People want to see Lookman. They want to see CDK. They want to see Retegui. We've got quite a lot of options in those attacking areas, but the rest of the team kind of picks itself.
The only full game I've watched of Atalanta this season was the Super Cup against Real Madrid, and I actually thought in the first half of that game Atalanta were very good, but obviously Real Madrid went on to win it. In terms of danger men, then obviously Retegui is in good form, who you briefly mentioned already. He just arrived in the summer, but he's hit a really rich vein of goal scoring form recently, hasn't he?
Yeah, 8 goals in his first 8 games. I think he scored 7 in 29 for Genoa all last season. So he's on fire. And I think if you factor in his international appearances, I think you're looking at 13 goals in about 15 appearances. So yeah, absolutely on fire. And considering we've got Scamacca as well, who's out of an ACL, the timing of his form has been absolutely ideal. We really needed that. So yeah, Retegui, key danger man, obviously lethal at the moment. Lookman, obviously, if he plays, look, he's pretty much as good as anyone in the league, I think, in Serie A. You saw what he's capable of in the Europa League final. He's nominated for a Ballon d'Or for a reason. So yeah, he's obviously an absolute key player for us as well. And so same goes for Ederson. Very mobile, very combative, but also very good on the ball in midfield. So they're the 3 that really kind of make us tick. But within that, you've got the whole formation and that Gasperini style and tactic, which is probably bigger than anything else. It's the way that we play that makes us a good team. We've just got some very good players within certain aspects of that setup.
Yeah, absolutely interesting. Ademola Lookman obviously worked with Brendan Rodgers at Leicester City, so coming up against his former manager. In terms of, I mean, how Atalanta will start the game being the home team, do you expect them to come out strong and really press Celtic. That's something when Celtic played in Dortmund, we really struggled. We are obviously used to being so dominant domestically, and we were in such good form, but I think we got our pressing wrong against Dortmund, and we kind of got caught in between, and we really got punished. But do you think Atalanta will try and pin us back from the first whistle?
It's going to be one of two things. We either just go all out at teams traditionally, or if you look at the Arsenal home game, it's maybe a little bit different, where it's a little bit more cagey, where you're playing to almost stay in the game. We never obviously approach a game like that, but it's almost that kind of mentality where it's a very, very even game, and you minimise the risks, as it were. You mentioned the pressing. That is something that if Celtic actually show up and your press works and you do it as a team and as a unit, that's definitely one area where I feel teams can potentially still get at us. So for us, it's equally as important that we get our press right, because if we get our press right, we're good.
That almost worries me, because that's the trap that we fell into in Dortmund, where we thought, well, if we can get at them, but we absolutely got it wrong, and we ended up on the wrong end of heavy defeat. Any other strengths, just in terms of style of play, if not personnel, that you think we should look out for?
Well, if he's back in the team, Kolasinac, my goodness, what an absolute warrior that lad is. I say that I think he missed the game with the flu, which doesn't make him sound all that tough, but oh my God, incredible warrior, incredible professional, and just his ability on that kind of left side of defence is just unmatched. I mean, he really is. We mentioned the three kind of key players that I touched on earlier, but actually Kolasinac is huge. Jim City is also huge. You're talking about a guy with over 250 appearances for the club, played multiple internationals for Albania, captain of Albania. They're really underrated, those two in particular. And you've got Isaac Hine, who's probably a guy who's potentially going to have a higher ceiling than both of those, playing alongside them. So, yes, we kind of touched on that, Retegi, Lukman, and Ederson, but actually at the back, Kolasinac in particular is an absolute tank of a footballer, top notch.
And in terms of any other weaknesses, then you mentioned that maybe if Celtic can get the press right, we could maybe apply some pressure. Is there any other weaknesses in the team that you think could make Atalanta vulnerable at spells in the game?
Well, yeah, like I said, that press is something that has seen us undone a few times in the past. You look at the Fiorentina game that we played tail end of last season after winning the Europa League. Obviously, a bit of a hangover from that, obviously, but their press was quite good. And I've seen teams come to Atalanta and apply that press, and they get a lot out of it. The major weaknesses are probably, we don't have the same weaknesses that we did 2 or 3 years ago, say like 2020, when we were just chucking everyone forward. We would get absolutely hammered on the counter-attacking down the sides. There's still definitely an element of that where teams can get in and behind, particularly behind Zappacosta or Ruggieri, just because that's where the space is. But also just the ability to attack crosses and corners. We don't have anyone that's massive. And bear in mind, I rate our team a lot, so I'm really struggling to actually pick out faults here, because we are a really exciting, entertaining team to watch. But yeah, we don't have anyone that's kind of 6'5" up there who's a master in the air. They're all in and around that kind of 5'11", 6'1" kind of height. So we don't have anyone that's going to dominate like that. And that's traditionally where we concede a lot of goals. Those close range headers in and around that kind of 6-yard box. So if you've got someone that's quite nifty in the air, that might be a go-to option.
That's interesting, because it sounds pretty ominous for us. Historically and recently, Celtic haven't been very strong at set pieces. We tend to have the front three of Kun, Kyogo and Maeda, who are all relatively small in stature, but they're really quick and they can hurt teams in transition. But the jump up to this level is where we've still to see that come to fruition. But at set pieces and in the air, they're not really very strong. We could maybe play someone like Adamida up front if we want a physical presence, maybe an aerial threat. But again, it's just not really in our style of play.
Well, the pace might actually help you, particularly in those transitions, because you look at where we played someone like Sporting. They've got the chap, I may kill the pronunciation on his name there, Victor Gorkes, or whatever he's called.
Yeah.
In transition and on the turn with pace, he caused us real problems. And again, when I spoke about teams getting in behind, particularly in those wide areas, if you've got someone in with a little bit of pace, that's 100% a good option for you guys. That's we do get done by those tricky kind of players sometimes. So
yeah. Okay, really looking forward to going over to the game. Obviously, the stadium's been recently redeveloped, hasn't it? I've obviously never been, but it looks like a brilliant atmosphere.
Oh my God, it's brilliant. And I will say that I fell in love with Italian football because I love the traditional old curvers, the big old concrete ones. And what we had in Bergamo was incredibly special. And I've never been a huge fan of the new stadiums. I love the traditional stuff, but they've done a fantastic job, absolutely fantastic job. The atmosphere is incredible. It's retained a lot of the history of the old stadium. You've got the two grandstands on either side, are both listed as historical monuments, essentially. So they're very limited with the work that they can do. So to have the stadium that we've got that still includes all the history and stuff is amazing. And just to give you an example of just how good this is, the TNT, the BT Sport people, when they were covering Arsenal's trip to Atalanta, they spent all the build up to the match talking about how much noise those Arsenal fans were making in the corner. When it came to full time and they were doing all the analysis, all they kept saying was, "Oh my God, the Atalanta fans behind the goal have not shut up." So that's basically what you're going to walk into. Is and you guys like a good atmosphere at Celtic. You know what it's about for an atmosphere, I think. So yeah, you're basically going to have about 2 hours of just Atalanta fans making pretty much constant noise. So it's going to be good fun.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. Really looking forward to seeing the city. But as I said to you, from my point of view, just before we came on here, hope the enjoyment doesn't stop at the first whistle as it usually does in a Celtic European away trip. Nigel, thank you for your time and your insight. Last question, I suppose, is how do you see the game playing out?
Oh, look, I wish I had some more cheerful and prosperous news for you guys, but I'm going 4-0 Atalanta. I mean, we're in good form at the moment. Yeah, I go 4-0. I can't see us slipping up or dropping points here. I think we'll, like I say, we're in such form at the moment. I can see us going on a bit of a run. So I think you caught us at the wrong time for 4-0 for me. I am very biased though, so apologies, Paul.
No, okay. Well, I mean, we're used to the away record in this competition for us is horrendous, so we're used to that. I would probably settle for 3-0 right now after Dortmund, although that sounds defeatist of me. Nigel, thank you very much for your time. I'll be back tomorrow with the starting 11 prediction for the game, and we will see you in Italy very soon. Cheers.